Hello, my name is Leroy Blevins. Welcome to Mysteries and Histories. In this episode here, what I would like to do is I want to talk about the Robert Kennedy assassination. Now, for quite a few months now, people's been asking me, to look into this case and everything else like that, and see what I can find. And I've been working very hard on the JFK assassination case for a long time now, especially working on this documentary. So I woke up this morning and I said, you know what? I've been really pushing myself, you know, real hard, and I need to take a break. So I decided, well, today I want to just, not worry about the JFK assassination right now. And, let me go ahead and look into this Robert Kennedy assassination. Now, when I was viewing it, because this morning when I got up at 5 o'clock, I started looking over some videos of stuff and found a recording of Robert Kennedy's speech and stuff, and then he went to the back, and then he was assassinated stuff. It was like 6 hours long. I watched it. And I started looking over the net for certain things and stuff, trying to figure some stuff out. And there's a lot of things when I looked into this case, okay? There's a lot of things that points up a lot of red flags, as it did when in the JFK assassination. A lot of things point up red flags for me. And it makes me wonder, how can they close this case and say there was one assassin, 8 shots fired, that's it, there's too much there. There's too much there. And when I was watching the recording stuff, you can hear the gunshots being fired. First, you hear one shot being fired. Then 54 seconds later, you start hearing other shots being fired. But the first shot, between the first shot and the other shots, was 54 seconds. Now, in the TV program I was watching was on ABC. They said it was like 60 seconds, but actually, when I was watching it, I went ahead and timed it. It was 54 seconds in between the two shots, between the first shots and the other shots. But when I started going more into it, looking at, some of the doctor's reports that I could find on the internet, like I said, if I had firsthand copies of everything and recordings and images and documents and stuff like that firsthand, I could find out a lot more. But, just looking over the internet, I try to not get misinformed by this or by that. But there's a lot of things that struck me and put up a lot of red flags, like I said, that makes me kind of concerned, like, how did they close this case? Because it's still an open case to me. Just watching it, just looking at it for the first time, it's an open case. I want to show you something when I was viewing it. I took some still shots from it as I was watching it. When I was watching it, okay, watching the live program during that time, I noticed a guy right here, as you see right here. I'll zoom in right here. This gentleman right here. As you notice, he's got his hand in his pocket and how he pushes his coat forward. And every time the camera zooms back and reveals this guy right here, he'll have his hands in his pocket, and right here it's out of his pocket. Then he puts it back in his pocket, and as you notice right here, it's in his coat pocket, but now it's starting going behind his back. Now that's awful strange of a reaction that I'm seeing from this gentleman right here. Don't know who he is or anything else. But like I said, if I had the clear images of it, first, original copies and stuff like that, I can make more details and stuff like that. But this guy right here keeps on sticking his hand in his coat pocket and taking it out. As you see in these images right here, which I'll probably shrink because I know probably in a way, this guy right here, see how his hand's out of his pocket. Here's his jacket pocket right here. And we got his hand in his jacket pocket. But you ever notice that when he's holding, it's like he's holding something there and he's pointing something out inside of his jacket pocket. Okay. Now, I also noticed that every time when they zoom back and I've seen him keep on putting his hands in his pocket, or in his jacket pocket, it goes forward. Then he takes his hand out. Okay, as I pointed out, takes his hand out. Then he puts his hand back in there. And then, as you notice, he brings his hand in his jacket pocket around closer to his back, like he's hiding something. Also, I noticed that he keeps on looking at the doorway over here. He keeps on looking at there. He keeps on turning around, looking this way, looking, trying to look like he wants to find a way to escape. But like I said, he keeps on putting his hands in his pocket, especially here when I was watching it. You can see it's like he's holding something inside of his coat pocket. Don't know what it is at this point. Okay, now like I said, I usually, I'm just pointing this out. Now I'm not saying he was one of the assassins there or anything else. I'm just pointing this out, giving out some information we can see in these images and stuff like that in these films. Now, as I was going over this, and I was going over some other stuff, I made me some notes. Okay, made me some notes. As I pointed out, there's 54 seconds by the time clock between the first shot and the other shots. 54 seconds. And that's like a long period of time. Almost 1 minute. Then I'm sitting there, going over more stuff and find out, well, there's 5 people wounded. And RFK, Robert Kennedy, was shot 3 times. Okay, and I was like, wait a minute. He was shot 3 times. Then you got 5 people that's wounded. Okay, that's a total of 8 shots, which the revolver that Sirhan used, and this is Sirhan right here. This is the guy that's actually supposedly assassinated Robert Kennedy, but we're going to get back to that in a moment. This is the kind of revolver that he was using. Okay, and it holds 8 shots, 22s. Okay, it was supposed to be hollow point as well. But when I started looking more into it, and it's like, wait a minute, there's 2 bullet holes that was actually in a door frame. And in reports and stuff like that, what I could find, they said there was people that dug bullet lead out of these bullet holes. So I'm like, wait a minute now, when we're looking at this, now we got to look at, well, there's 5 people wounded. Robert Kennedy was shot 3 times, that's a total of 8. But now we have 2 more shots here, which is a total of 10 shots now. Not 8, 10. Then when I was sitting there looking at the report, okay, of the angle of the shots to Robert Kennedy and where he was shot at and the locations where he was shot, they said it was fired at an 80-degree angle. Okay, not only was fired at an 80-degree angle, but by the gunpowder they found on the back of Robert Kennedy's head right here, because this is where basically he got shot at. Okay, and the bullet was going up, right? So it shot right here. Then he shot under his armpit right here. Okay, 1 bullet lodged up in his throat, up in his neck right here. The other bullet, the first shot, was right behind his right ear, and it was going upward in an 80-degree angle. Second shot was right here, that entered back here under his armpit, and it lodged up in his neck right here. And then the other shot basically grazed Robert Kennedy, and the bullet exit, and then it struck the ceiling. Okay, so that's accountable for the ceiling shot. But like I said, it's in an 80-degree angle. Now, we got to keep this in mind. And by the gunpowder, gun residue and stuff, and gunpowder on Robert Kennedy's wounds and on his coat, pinpoints that the assassin had to have been taking his shots anywhere from 0 to 0.0 to 1.5 inches away. So now we have the shots going at an 80-degree angle, and the shots are very close, which is only 1.5 inches away, or some basically it could be 1 inch or 1.5 inches, but it was an inch because there was gunpowder residue on Robert Kennedy's neck and on his coat that they found. So it was very close. So the assassin had to have been right next to him, firing upward. Okay, firing upward. Now, when I go into the stories and the details, here's the map of the location. Okay, now the 2 bullet holes were found right over here on this side of the door frame. If you watch my cursor, bullet holes was found here on the door frames coming in this direction. Now, Sirhan was over here in this location here. Robert Kennedy was right here. And the 5 people who was wounded was right over in this location here. Now, remember, Sirhan is only 5'4", okay, which we could judge just by right here. As you see here, this is him right here, side profile. He's 5'4". Now, in some testimonies, he was firing above other people. He's firing over other people. He's firing over them. So if he's firing over them, okay, that means the shots wouldn't come directly from right beside Robert Kennedy. Because remember, this guy here, when we look at the map, as I pull it up here again, he was in front of Robert Kennedy. Okay, but they said Robert Kennedy turned over and he was shaking his hands to somebody who was on this side here, which, you know, we'll put him in this direction here, which would be, now we will say, yeah, Sirhan was on the right side of him at this point. Okay, was on the right side of him at this point. When they look at him this way, when we're looking at this way, yeah, he's in front of him. But then when he turns over and he's shaking hands across this serving table here, shaking hands with somebody, that's when he started getting shot. But as you see, he's about 3 to 4 feet away from him. Even by eyewitness accounts, they said Sirhan was never closer to Robert Kennedy. He was always around anywhere from 3 to 4 feet away from him. Now remember, as I pointed out, the shots came in an 80-degree angle, and it was only fired 1 inch away from Robert Kennedy. So if he's 3 foot away, and then when he took his 2 shots, because a lot of people say he took 2 shots, some of the eyewitnesses said he took 2 shots, people grabbed him and slammed him against this serving table, which, you know, like I said, photographic evidence does back that up, which we'll see right here. Okay, here he is right here. Here's Sirhan right here. And you see him slamming against the serving table, which is right here. Okay, he fired all 2 shots. And they slammed him because I don't think anybody, okay, he would have to be going like this. Bang, 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 bang. And what gets me here is nobody in this location here was wounded. Only Robert Kennedy. And between Robert Kennedy and the other people, nobody was wounded. Only people was wounded was in this location right here, and Robert Kennedy here, but nobody else was wounded whatsoever. And this place was packed with people, because here's the podium that he was speaking in. Robert Kennedy was getting ready to leave the podium, but he was going to go off to this direction. Someone says, no, let's go this direction, it's faster. So he gets off the podium, he walks in here, starts shaking people's hands and stuff like that. And then when he got this point, Sirhan came around, started taking shots. People grabbed him, slammed him against the serving table. Kennedy falls back this way, in this direction. Well, I think it was no way in this direction. He was falling back because we got this on the opposite side of him. Falling back. So basically, the shots are coming in from right beside him and from behind them. This is where he shots. Because for 2 shots to hit the door frame on this side right here, they would have to be fired from this direction. And you got people being wounded in this section as well right here. So if they're being wounded in this section right here, and bullets are striking right here as well, that means there were shots coming from this direction, shots coming from this direction, and shots coming from this direction. Now, when you start adding up the shots, okay, you, like I said, you pointed 3 shots at Robert Kennedy, 5 wounded, which is 8, 2 shots to the thing, that's a total of 10 to the door frame. That's a total of 10 shots. By eyewitness accounts, Sirhan only took 2 shots. But you got 5 people over here wounded. Robert Kennedy wounded 3 times. And then 2 bullet holes into the doorway here. Like I said, total of 10 shots. Now, when you look at this and you start piecing this together and stuff like that, and you're going, wait a minute now. You know, this is what brings, like I said, brings up red flags to me, and why I don't understand is how can they say that this case is closed and Sirhan's the only assassin and that's it. But see, the point of fact of this is, you noticed, and as you noticed when they did their charges against him, they charged him for the murder of Robert Kennedy. But again, we're going to look at this, as I pointed out in the JFK assassination. What about Conley? What about James Tay? Why weren't any charges against Oswald for them two? You see what I'm saying? Same as right here. Sirhan. Okay, he still shot 5 other people, as they want to put it. He shot 5 other people, and he shot Robert Kennedy. Okay, Robert Kennedy died. The other witness, the other people was hit, didn't die, but wouldn't that be attempted murder as well? But nothing's really said about them. Okay, it's been told about them, but no charges are brought upon Sirhan or nothing else. Just the killing of Robert Kennedy. You see what I'm saying? So see, these what brings up red flags to me. And just like I said, he's supposed to be firing over people, but then the shots to Kennedy was at 80 degree and only 1 inch away from him. So you want to find out who the assassin was that took the shots of Robert Kennedy. Excuse me. If there's any, I know there's got to be films and images taken back there and stuff like that, because you got news reporters constantly taking images and stuff. Someone had to capture the guy that was standing right next to Robert Kennedy, because he had been standing right next to him, pull out a revolver and take them shots close. Took close shots of him. Okay, they had to be. Okay, for them to actually be 1 inch away from Robert Kennedy spot right here, and then his jacket stuff by the gun residue and stuff that they found on his coat and on Robert Kennedy's neck and stuff like that. He would have to been firing 1 inch away. And with Sirhan being 3 to 4 feet away, there's no possible way that gunpowder or any kind of gun residue or anything would have been on Robert Kennedy. Period. These are the things that I point out. These are the things I look at. I wish I had, like I said, if I could put a lot more time into it, if I had the reports and all the original films that was filmed there that day and images and stuff like that, I could probably sort through them and find some more information that was overlooked. But like I said, when you look at a case like this, and when they start talking about this, and you see photographic evidence of other shots being fired, okay, more than the 8, how these people get wounded over here, when after he's right here, and even if he was, if you actually think about it, let's look at this for just one moment. I want to bring this up while I'm here. If people's tackling him and slamming him against a serving table right here, and if he's still loading off his shots, okay, the people's going to get hit is behind the serving table here that Robert Kennedy was shaking hands with. Am I correct? These people over here would never have been shot. The only reason why these people were shot because there was somebody right in this location here, had to be in this location here, for them to be able to get 2 shots into that doorway there. Okay, to get 2 shots in that doorway, they had to have been standing right here to be able to get 2 bullets into that doorway there. So they were standing right here. So as soon as Robert Kennedy and them start walking in here, you had an assassin here, you had an assassin right next to him, and then you had this one over here. That'd be a total of 3 assassins, not 1, for these shots to be able to occur and take place as we see in the films and images. Just like these bullet holes here. For these bullet holes to be bullet holes, they would have been over there where I was pointing at. So you see what I'm saying? There's a lot of evidence right now, even in the public's eye, that, when you look at this and you start piecing it together, and you start figuring out, especially when you look at this, okay, in general itself, that, you go by the reports and everything else, hey, right there shows you, the one red flag that really shows you there was another assassin there, is the shots to Robert Kennedy. 1 inch away, 80-degree angle, and Sirhan's 3 to 4 feet away from him. Right there's your evidence to show there was another assassin there. And the assassin was right next to Robert Kennedy. So if you can find the films and images of a man walking next to Robert Kennedy as you're going into there, as you see him going through the back here, the person next to Robert Kennedy was your assassin to Robert Kennedy, not Sirhan. So I just want to make this video here to let everybody know, I'm going to be looking into this case once in a while and stuff like that. I just wanted to point out some facts and stuff like that I found just, in a short time of looking at this. And like I said, red flags point up to me when I was going over some of the stuff and hearing some of the testimonies and what people's talking about, going over some of the reports and stuff. There's a lot of things that shows red flags. Okay, it shows there was more shots fired there that day. Shows there was more than one assassin there. Just the little evidence I've uncovered here, and that's on the net and out in front of public's eye, stuff like that. Always the evidence is always in front of the public's eye. Okay, it's always been there, even in the JFK assassination case. So don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to hit that like button. Tell your friends about this information, other information on my JFK assassination research. Thank you, and have a pleasant day.